So to understand fluid in motion, we need to start with streamline. So we need to understand what is streamline. Streamline, the basic idea of streamline is that it shows the path that fluid particles are flowing at a given instance of time. For example, over here, I have two examples. I have a wind tunnel. So basically this is a enclosed chamber kind of thing. And you keep object and you have a steady source of gas over there. And we switch on this big fan and it goes over the gas, goes over the structure and you get to study. People do that and scientists do that and engineers do that for whatever. There are many reasons to do that. That's, if you're interested, please do have a look at it. So this is one more example wherein you have kept a round object, right? If you guys are into sports, it's must for you guys to understand this. It's helpful. So here you have a streamline, that is basically we are tracing the path the particles are taking. That's it. That's the basic idea of streamline. It's like drawing the flow. It shows which way the fluid, so basically particles, is moving right now. So this is the official definition. That's left to you guys to read and understand. Nothing much for me to do over there. But yeah. Right? So this is it. That's your streamline. Now, with help of the word streamline, we will differentiate laminar and turbulent flow. So let's look at laminar flow now. Laminar flow is a type of fluid motion in which the fluid moves in smooth, orderly and parallel layer. So this is nothing but your streamline. We're talking about the streamline, how the particle moves. Example, if you take up agarbatti, right? That's the best example. So this is, I think this is agarbatti. So you have a steady flow over here. This is a smooth, orderly, parallel layers of particles moving up. So this from here till almost over here, you have laminar flow. So the lamina, each layer slides past adjacent layer without mixing, and the velocity at a point remains steady over time. So if I take up, say that you're looking at a laminar flow. Let me actually do this. Say we are looking at a laminar flow like this. If I take up any small section, right? And if I observe, see that particular space, it's not that the particles are stationary, they're moving up, right? But at that space, the particles, for say few microsecond, nanoseconds, if you have it to be a closed chamber and stuff, okay, so it will actually go straight down. Anyways, point is, the particles, if you observe all the particles over there, for that small duration of time, they will have the same velocity. All the particles passing through that particular point, they will have the same velocity. Only then you'll get a streamline, is it not? I mean, steady streamline, smooth streamline. So if I take up any point, so the velocity over there will be this. All the particles will have this as a velocity. Whatever this is, 10 minus 10, say I cap, plus 124 j cap, something like this. So all of them will have that same, all the particles passing through that space, that point, will have this particular velocity. Okay guys, so that's the funda. So that would be your laminar flow. It is characterized by streamlines that are straight, parallel and well defined, occurs at low velocity and low Raymond numbers. Motion is predictable and stable. These are the characteristics. Now, turbulent. When it comes to turbulent flow is type of fluid motion. It is chaotic, it's irregular, and the velocity and pressure and all that, it fluctuates. In here, we have streamlines becoming distorted and intermixed. So you can see over here. This leads to eddies and strong mixing of fluid layer. Very clear from the picture itself. So you can see an eddy over here, kind of over here. Okay. And eddy is this kind of thing. Okay, guys. Sorry, my mouse is, somewhere over here and over here. So we have streamlines are irregular over here. Its wave and constantly changing, occurs at high velocity and high, something called as Raymond number. This, I didn't mention it over there. This not Raymond, Reynolds number, we'll be looking into this. Again, not in detail, but I'll be talking about it. Motion is unpredictable and energy loss due to frictions are higher over here. Because obviously there are irregular, there will be friction. Now, friction will be high actually. So we saw this, laminar and turbulent. So the same particles are becoming turbulent after a certain place per se, right? There's a transition place. Or I can tell it as there's a transition velocity. That transition velocity is known as your critical velocity. That specific velocity at which a fluid's flow transitions from laminar to turbulent. So we have a derivation for this. So critical velocity is that point of time, actually point of velocity, wherein a given particular fluid with a given set of conditions, it becomes turbulent. The flow becomes turbulent. Okay. So the summary is this actually. Critical velocity, it's the velocity which determines if the flow is streamlined or turbulent. When the velocity is less, the streamlined flow becomes laminar. When the velocity is more, it becomes turbulent. And we have a formula. We'll be deriving this formula. Okay, guys. And I have a small summary for you for difference between laminar and turbulent. Okay, so again, let me start from the top. So now we are looking at fluids which are moving, under the heading fluid dynamics. So when we have fluids that are moving, it's either laminar or turbulent. Laminar is, all that which I defined. Turbulent is very irregular. One of the main factor is viscosity. We'll be looking into this. So now, one of the very first thing which we need to understand fluid under motion is streamlines. So streamline shows the path that fluid particle are following at a given instance of time. Of course, the path can always change, but the word streamline, it can be understood in this way. So using that, we understood laminar flow and turbulent flow. So it's time for you guys to pause, have a look at what you guys want to write down.